All right, I'm here in Dublin, Ireland. Enterprise Ireland flew me out to check out Irish tech innovation and just had a cool little presentation from Eóin Tuohy, who is the CEO and founder of Sports Impact Technology. Hey, how's it going, Eóin? It's nice to meet you.
Great, likewise, and lovely to meet you.
Yeah, so we're taking a look on this weekend. It's timed with the NFL game, big NFL game coming to Dublin. Are you going to the game?
I am. Okay. Yeah. So looking forward to it.
Well, by the time that this podcast is released, the game will have been finished. It'll be in the past, so you already know who won. But what your company does is very related to what's going on with American football and basically all impact sports. Tell us a little bit about kind of the little wearable that you just showed off to us today and what it's all about.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, we make a wearable that detects head impacts as they happen. So we know head impacts is a big problem, as you say, in all impact sports. And really the problem is twofold. One is if a player receives a big concussion and continues to play, so the concussion was missed. But then the second one is the cumulative effects that we see with CTE or chronic traumatic encephalopathy. So we said we want to get some objective measure out there that's capturing this data and able to tell us in real time if a player has got a head impact, and then being able to look at those head impacts over their player in their career. So our wearable, I can show you the case.
Yes, and so this isn't like a wearable you put on your wrist. Like we're always talking about technology, wearables from like a glasses and a wrist perspective. This is something that you put behind your ear.
Yeah, so it's about the time. I'll give you, I don't know what US coin, quarter, dimes.
Maybe a dime. I can hold it up if you're watching the video version. I mean, the thing is tiny.
Yeah, that's the thing. It looks a little bit like a button, and where you wear it,
It looks like a candy, actually.
yeah. Please do not wear it.
Yes, follow. Yes.
Let's get that out.
Entirely different type of it.
Yeah. So it's a small wearable that you just wear behind your ear. So if you put your finger up behind your ear and feel your skull, there's a little bony bit there on your skull, and that's called the mastoid process. So that's the point where this wearable is worn. So it just sticks on there with a double-sided adhesive. And that just sticks on, takes about 5 seconds to stick on, and then you take your hand away, and then you go and you play your match. So it could be a practice session, could be a tournament, whatever that may be, and that just sits there, and it's actively monitoring the entire time and recording every head impact you receive.
And so it's transmitting. So inside of this tiny little thing, which I have to say is incredibly light, like I can imagine if I'm wearing this, I would literally have no idea I'm wearing it 2 seconds later. Like it would just kind of fade in the background. And that's probably good, depending on the sport that you're playing. You don't want to be focused on this, little nub that's hidden behind your ear, I suppose. But inside of here, talk about the technology that's driving this. I imagine there's some like gyroscope action, a transmitter. What's going on?
Yeah, so fundamentally, you got all your core kind of components. So we've got electronics inside. Obviously, we have a battery to be running the device. We got our microcontroller processing everything, and obviously our antenna transmitting real time. But the real heavy lifting are two kind of components. So one is an accelerometer, and the other is a gyroscope. So every head impact has two components to it: a linear acceleration, which is a straight line in your 3-axis. So that's your accelerometer, which is recording g-force. And then the other thing is the gyroscope. That's the rotational component. So the unit this is radians per second squared. So it's the rotational acceleration. So when you get a hit, you'll likely be moving forward a little bit, and there's a bit of a twist. So they're the two components, and that's essentially the core element that we're capturing, processing, and then transmitting.
Yeah, because when you're talking about head injuries, it isn't always just impact. There is that rotational element that can really do a number on. I mean, is that more about neck versus head, brain, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I wonder. So there's a lot of factors in it, and obviously, like the human body, it's quite grey. So just as you say, not all head impacts are from direct contact to the head. So obviously, head on head, that's clear, or head to elbow, or even head with the ground. They're quite common. But a lot of head impacts come from there's no direct contact to the head, so a hit to the body, and there's the whiplash effect. So this is where your neck can compensate and absorb some of that impact, but unfortunately the brain is still moving about. So this is where all the head impacts are coming. So this is why you want to capture both components.
Yeah, I'm not personally as like I guess probably a pretty standard American. I'm very unfamiliar with rugby, but you played a clip, no helmets involved. Yet head impacts happening. I mean, in the one clip you showed, that looked like a pretty nasty head impact. When I think of American football, I think of wearing a helmet, right? And oh, the helmet's just going to protect you. But you said actually that the helmet, I don't know, is a false sense of security or something. And yeah, that's really fascinating.
So exactly that. It's really counterintuitive. So the principle of when it's happening a concussion, it's the brain, right? Yeah. So it's the movement of the brain and the sharing of the fibers in there. So that's head impacts is resulting in that. But if you're wearing a helmet, what a helmet is doing, it's protecting your skull. So the actual bone, and it's protecting you from getting a fracture or a serious bang to the skull, the bone element. But it's actually doing nothing for your brain. So the analogy is, if you have a tin of olives, and I take it up and I shake it and I throw it out the place, the tin looks absolutely fine, which is your skull, but the olives inside are now smushed up, so that's the analogy. So players, if you take comparable sports with helmets and without sports, you can see the incidence of concussion is much higher in those with helmets, because the players feel secure. And you know yourself from wearing go-karting or on a motorbike, you feel secure in a helmet, but you're not from concussion. Actually, it's doing very little. It doesn't do nothing, but it's very, very little to prevent concussion. So this really counterintuitive, but it is quite an interesting factor.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I am out here because Enterprise Ireland brought me out, yes, but it's really meant to kind of show what kind of innovation in the tech space and the medical tech space and all that are happening in Ireland. Talk a little bit about kind of your relationship to that, being here, developing this company, developing this technology inside of Ireland. How does that, I don't know, where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I think Ireland, I think it's fair to say, is punching above its weight when it comes to the tech sector in all aspects. So obviously, to the fore, we've all the big tech companies, the Googles and all are here. So there's a really strong skill set here for digital tech, but even we've a very strong med tech presence here. So like whether that's med tech itself, hardware or software, there's a great skill set here, and the ecosystem is just built. So to give Enterprise Ireland so much credit, they're just unbelievable. They're fostering and helping you at those early stages, because you're just this little flame, not even a flame, a spark, and they're just getting you help get over those initial hurdles and all that support. So it's a really great ecosystem. There's a great startup vibe here and more mature scale-up companies, but everyone's very keen to help each other, share the learning, share the technologies, and it's just, I think it's kind of a cheat code to start a business in.
Right on. Excellent. Well, Eóin Tuohy, thank you so much for talking with me and to all of our listeners about this technology. I think it's a really important technology, a really important approach for something that I think a lot of people have a lot of concerns about. And it sounds like, sports impact technologies is really about addressing health in the realm of head impacts in sports, so that we can hopefully continue to, put the people we care about into a sport that they enjoy playing, but do it safely.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to fearmonger anything. We're trying to enable participation, enable sport. We're an early company. We're seeking investment as we go, but already the results we've gotten have been substantial, and we see the benefits, and we just love sports. So if we can help in any way, that's what we're trying to do.
Right on. It's a wonderful, wonderful objective and mission. Thank you, Eóin, for talking.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me.
You too.